Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at the rather excellent Thermaltake 280 EX Pro ARGB sync. This is the latest in the AIO liquid cooler range from our good friends over at Thermaltake. I will say, this has been sent to us free of charge for review purposes. They've not asked us to say anything, and we've got no script or anything, so all the things you'll be hearing in the video are my own thoughts, if I can actually manage to get them out of my brain today. But anyway, that's another story. Let's get on with this. So this is a 280mm AIO. There's actually 4 different versions in this particular range of the EX Pro. So you're looking at 240, 280, 360, and 420. So pretty much there's something for everyone. Now this isn't actually a massive leap in technology in any way, shape or form, but there's lots of little refinements which have helped to make this a much better product in my personal opinion. And hopefully you'll be thinking the same too. So before we get into the numbers and actually how it performs, let's take a look at the specifications, what you get included, talk about how easy it is to fit, and then we'll dive into some of those numbers. So first of all, take a look at the packaging, pretty much what you'd expect from Thermaltake, very common packaging from them. So it tells you exactly what it is. Goes through some of the specifications on there. So this one, because it's a 280, you've got 2 included fans, so you get 2 fans included. You also get the addressable RGB pump head. You also got copper-based design, 31.6 dBA, which I still don't understand how or where they get those numbers from. Obviously there is some methodology in it, but realistically to most people it means absolutely nothing. This is kind of measured, I think, in some sort of soundproof chamber, which I don't own, you don't own, so it makes no difference to you. But anyway, the PWM range of these fans, these new EX Pros, looking at between 500 and 2000 RPM, although I will say in my testing with my ASUS motherboard, they've actually managed to go down considerably lower than that, down to around about 250 RPM. So if you want ultra quiet and very low RPM, these are going to be absolutely great for you. And actually in my testing, they weren't that loud, although you do get to a point with any radiator, because of the vanes in the radiator, when you're just pushing an absolute ton of air through them, you are going to get some noise. So they're not totally silent, but they are very quiet in operation. Something new which I've seen on the box, it now says Intel K-Series compatible or compliant thermal solution. And actually I can completely agree with this. We've been testing this today with a 14700K on a top of the range ASUS motherboard with all of the power limits just completely let go. This thing handles up to 350 watts absolutely easily. No problems at all, and was well under thermal throttling territory. When it comes to addressable RGB, we've got a standard 3-pin 5V addressable RGB header on here for the actual pump head. And this has actually got a daisy chain pass-through as well, so you can add on or connect it to other devices should you wish to. Fully compliant with ASUS motherboards, Gigabyte motherboards, also MSI, and believe it or not, BioStar as well. On the back of the box, looking at some of the specifications, first of all you go through the CPU socket compatibility. And I'm very pleased to say that this actually works with pretty much anything on the market at the moment. So as far back as AM2, if you wanted to go that far back, all the way up to the latest and greatest, including AM5 and also AM5 Plus. And it has full compatibility with pretty much all Intel sockets for the last 15 to 20 years, right the way back from the 11.5X range, all the way up to the latest and greatest LGA 1700, without the need for a separate bracket. The pump itself has a speed rating of between 1500 and 3300 RPM, and anywhere up to around about 80 to 85% is completely silent. After that, there is a very slight hum to it, but nothing which is distracting. So some of the things which actually makes this slightly different from some of the other models in the range is the new infinity mirror top. Now they've actually done this to kind of differentiate it slightly from the TH range. With this, they've actually gone for a really nice blacked out look for the pump head. So with the TH range, there was like a gunmetal grey on there, so they've just colorized that a little bit to make it look a little bit more stealthy. Also, we have a new and improved copper water block as well, which appears to have a very slight convex nature to it, giving you extra pressure in the center of your CPU. Also, we now have the new and improved Magforce 2.0 fans. So if you've seen any of our Thermaltake videos previously with the magnetic connectivity, which I must say is absolutely brilliant and reduces cable management and clutter drastically, it really does. This has got the new version, so Magforce 2.0 employs new pads actually on the magnetic receivers, so they're 2 times larger. So that means for those of you that have experienced it before, sometimes you find those magnets don't quite match up sometimes, and you don't always get the best connectivity. Thermaltake have addressed this with Magforce 2.0, made those pads significantly larger, so even if the connector is slightly off, then it will still work as it's intended to, which is awesome. So that's enough of taking a look at the box. Let's take a look and see what we actually get inside the box. So obviously you get the water pump, you get the tubing, which is actually really nice tubing and has a really nice amount of flex to it. So depending what you're putting this into, you shouldn't find that any of the pipes actually kink or anything. They're also braided as well to give them a little bit of additional protection. Very nice indeed, around about 420 millimeters in length. The pump head itself, like I said, nicely blacked out, very easy to install on pretty much any socket at all, specifically so on the AMD side of the fence. Literally get your motherboard out, put your processor on, put the clips on, you're pretty much ready to go. Very straightforward, no disassembly required. Although on the other side of the fence, when you look at the Intel mountings, there is a backplate which needs to be installed, and there's two different ones, one for LGA 1700 and the other one for the older Intel sockets, both of which have 3M tape on there to actually attach it to the back of the motherboard, so you don't have to give additional pressure on the back. If you don't want to have it permanently mounted or semi-permanently mounted, just leave the protection of the tape actually on the backplate and it'll come out very easily. If you want to see how this was actually installed on an Intel LGA 1700 socket on a very, very nice ASUS motherboard, which you're also seeing in the B-roll, you can head over to our live stream we did, where we did a full build in this with the Series 330. You can see exactly how it all goes together, and I've got to say, it was very, very straightforward indeed. So also included, as you'd expect, there's really nice instructions, and actually they've gone a little bit further as well. Sometimes they don't always label up the screws quite right, but they've actually color coded some of them, especially for Intel. So there's a chrome one or a black one, making installation a lot easier if you're not entirely sure which socket you're actually on. Also included, as you've probably guessed already, are the Magforce 2.0 fans. So these are the EX Pros, the new EX Pro with those larger pads on there, making assembly much easier. Also, they've updated the blades very slightly. So we're using LCP, so that's liquid crystal polymer. That's easy for me to say. And again, we've got those bigger pads on there, making them very easy to go. 9-blade design, lots of airflow. And actually, I think the actual noise of them has changed a little bit. They do sound a little bit better. I think they've done something to the angle of the blades in order to do that. Like I said earlier in the video, whenever you're using these sort of fans, or any fans at all really, actually on a radiator, and then you've got the case as well, there's going to be various different things which are obstructing the airflow, which may actually cause some noise differentials depending what case you're using. You'll hear what this actually sounds like later in the Series 330, which is essentially the same as the Series 300. So that should give you a pretty good idea of what it's going to sound like actually in your case. I've also done a sound test as well with the radiator actually just freestanding, just so you can see the differences there and hopefully get some idea of what it's going to sound like in your rig. Actually, one of the key points of this, and I keep on going back to it, is this magnetic design. And I really do love this. So literally when you're installing this, you can daisy chain your fans together because they have the magnetic bits in and they lock together. And when it comes to connectivity, you've basically got one PWM connection, which will go to your CPU fan header. On the other end, got this little magnetic section here. And it's really good because it basically won't go on the wrong way because magnets, and that's it, just snaps into place. So literally, whether you're using 2 fans, a single fan, or 3 fans, you can just daisy chain them together and you've got one cable coming off the end, which will significantly reduce your cable clutter. For those of you that are wondering, you do actually get 2 of these cables included because there's 2 fans. So if you decide at some point you actually want to put these and use them as case fans and swap these out for something else, then you can do, and they do have the cables provided, which I think is actually a nice touch. Also included, for those of you who are wondering, you do get some thermal paste. I'm not actually sure what Thermaltake's thermal paste is or how well it works, to be honest with you. I've never done a kind of group test on them, but the fact that it's included I think is actually quite beneficial. So next we'll take a look at the actual pump head itself, and I'll show you some B-roll of this. So you've got the 360-degree rotatable head there, so depending which way you're mounting the pipes or whatever processor you're using it on, or maybe you're using some sort of CTE case, inverted cases, whatever it is, don't worry, you can actually twist the top so the Thermaltake logo will show exactly the right way regardless of the direction of your build. This is a completely 360 design, so some of the older ones used to just go around to a certain stop point and then you'd have to kind of rotate them the other way to get it absolutely right, whereas this is completely 360 and we'll just keep on rotating and rotating until you find the right spot. So that's enough about what we get and what's included. Let's take a look at some actual numbers. So this was tested with the 14700K with an ASUS motherboard, which is ridiculously expensive and has an absolutely amazing VRM setup. So basically all the power we could possibly push through this thing, we certainly did. There was no restrictions whatsoever. The motherboard was updated to the latest BIOS and everything's set to auto. So it's basically just running wild with voltages and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at our Cinebench results. So in terms of Cinebench, I did two different versions. One which is the single loop, where we got somewhere in the region of about 33,800, I think it was. And actually with that, the temperatures were actually, I consider to be absolutely awesome. So we're staying around about 90 or lower. Actually on the motherboard itself, it does take a reading. So I'm not too sure whether this is the individual core or whether it's the package temperature, but on the motherboard itself, it was hitting around about 75 to 80 degrees pretty consistently. And this is a full load. I will stress this was just slightly under 350 watts is the TDP rated in the software. So this thing is absolutely guzzling power, but this is handling it very easily. And actually, I would say this is working slightly better than some of the 360mm rads we've tested previously. Whether it's down to the new improvements in the pump head design, whether it's due to the fans, the radiator itself. The radiator actually is slightly larger. So this is 27mm, but the inner chambers are actually 20mm. So a little bit bigger than what they have been previously. So there is a little bit more thermal capacity actually in the radiator itself. But I think the overall combination has worked absolutely great. Also taking a look at idle temperatures. So if you're just having this on your desktop and things are just chugging along, realistically, you're going to be looking at under 30 degrees. And in this room, about 22 degrees Celsius. So about 5 to 6 degrees over the ambient temperature, which again is absolutely brilliant. After this, I did a 5-minute loop just to see if there's any thermal throttling of any sort. And realistically, no, not at all. And actually we got a slightly better score, just breaking the 34,000 mark, which is excellent for a 14700K. This is not overclocked, literally just with the stock settings, so potentially we could push this even further. We do have headroom in the CPU, the motherboard sure as hell has some headroom, and it seems that the cooler does as well. So last up, we'll take a listen to see what it actually sounds like in use. So now you'll be hearing some references of what this sounds like. The camera is about 1 foot away from the fans, so obviously you're not going to have your head next to them, but I'll give you some idea of what it sounds like, and I'll try and normalize the actual audio so that it syncs up with what I'm doing now. This is a sound test of the EX280, currently at 25% of the maximum speed of the RPM. Camera is approximately 12 inches away from the fans. This is 25%. I will now be completely silent. This is the EX280 with the fans currently at 50% of the maximum rated speeds. I will now be completely silent. This is the EX280, now at 75% of the maximum fan speed. I'll now be completely silent. This is the EX280 at 100% fan speed, and we're looking at approximately 2000 RPM. I'll now be completely silent. This is the EX280, 100% fan speed, with the radiator and fans removed from the case. No obstructions. So there you go, I think you'll agree, very quiet, very nice noise profile to it. Obviously when it's under full load, when these things are spinning at 2000 RPM, you're going to be moving a lot of air, so you are going to get some turbulent noise. That is unavoidable, unfortunately, with technology as it is. There isn't anything else you can do about that at the moment, but in my opinion, I think these sound absolutely brilliant. But more importantly, I'd be really interested to see what your thoughts are about them in the comment section below. So I think that's going to pretty much wrap up my experience with the Thermaltake Toughliquid 280EX Pro ARGB sync. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, smash that like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, then maybe consider hitting subscribe and the chime notification. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. I think that's going to pretty much wrap this one up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.